Excellent. This is Craig from Front Row Network and NPR Illinois. Kevin, it's great to get a chance to talk to you again, and I can't wait to talk to you about the 430 movie. So, you're a storyteller, and more so than any of your stories, the 430 movie is autobiographical. Can you speak to the importance of bringing your own life experiences into storytelling?
I mean, I'm not a very good filmmaker. You ask the internet, they'll be happy to tell you. So I'm not creative. Like George Lucas is creative. That's a guy who's like, guess what? Wookiees. Like, oh my God, that's creative. I'm the person that's like, one time I went on a date when I was in high school. So I think I'll make a whole ass movie about that. So I tend to crib very liberally from my real life, always have, even from the beginning. Clerks is not, a meditation on the workforce. It's what my life looked like when I made Clerks. I worked in that convenience store, did that same shift as Dante, just changed the character's name from my name to Dante and went forward and stuff. So I've always cribbed from my real life. 430 movie cribs as deep as I've ever cribbed, gone as deep as I've ever gone, because the movie's set in 1986, which really the location and the setting came before anything else. Me and my friends bought my childhood movie theater, which we call Smart Castle Cinemas, same one from the movie. So when you go into the theater, nothing inside has been updated since we were kids. So in theater one, same seats that I sat in to see Friday the 13th part 2, they're there now. So I was like, wait a second, man, if we point a camera in the theater, we never look outside, and we make sure everybody's wearing the right clothing, we could literally make a period piece. Like nothing, we don't have to spend any money, and this shit looks old. So what if we went back in time? What if we like did a de facto our version of Merchant Ivory, for heaven's sakes? And it started there. Then it was like, all right, well, what am I going to do if I'm going to set it in a movie theater? I can't make it about working at a movie theater. I never worked at a movie theater. And if I made it like Ushers, it's like Clerks, but in a movie theater, that would be like pretending to stolen valor. I can't do that. So, but I have spent a lifetime in the movie theaters. And when I was a kid in that very same movie theater, our most common practice was you get dropped off at like noon for the matinee, you pay for that. And then you sneak to the other movie theater, and you sneak to the other movie theater, you sneak to and then your parents pick you up at 10 o'clock. Like, how many movies you see? Like, four, why not five? Because your parents were like, get as much as you can out of these Hollywood people
Right.
and dollars. So because the location had dictated like the story to a large degree. And then I was like, all right, well, if it's going to be a story, steal it from your child. If you're already stealing, if you're already going like, ooh, I'm going to tell a story about my first date, or I'm going to tell a story about like how we used to spend our Saturdays and Sundays jumping around the movie theater, like then you're going personal in order to make it authentic. So I had, episodes of Smodcast where I'd found these recordings of the young version of me driving around on my bike through highlands, like recording my deep thoughts and at that age. So I started pulling from that because I was like, well, I want them to sound real. I can't sound like I do now as I tell the story. Like nowadays, I'm like, hey kids, it's me, Kevin Smith, and you can do anything you want and stuff like that. And hey, Clerks. That's a voice that developed with age and time and wisdom and 30 years of being in the business. I wanted to get back to a voice that wasn't that, wasn't a born entertainer, wasn't somebody who was constantly on the cell or something like that. And finding those recordings was a real like keystone for starting. I was like, well, this is what he sounded like when he was a kid. And so let's build that world. So it was a pay on to youth and a sentimental journey, nostalgic as hell. And the only movie, honestly, I could have made at that time, this is just when I got out of the booby hatch, right? I was in the mental hospital and stuff. So I was fragile. And this is about as fragile a movie as one
Yes.
could make when you're in that condition. So it's soft. Like I always felt the movies got no edge to it whatsoever, like my other stuff, because this is the movie that feels more like a Nerf ball. And some people are like, well, I hate Nerf. I like the real thing. Well, God bless. I was raised on Nerf. I like things with soft edges.
Well, I only have a couple of minutes with you, and I was going to ask you about things like the setting and also why this time now. But you've talked a lot in podcasts recently about how your audience is aging, how you feel like you're entering a new era of your career as well. And I just want to tell you that I'm one of those people that you inspired from thousands of podcasters who started a podcast because of you. And then now here I am interviewing you from NPR Illinois, and so
And
I
look at
just want to
you.
tell you, just keep going because the art and creativity you put out there, we need still. And so I only got a minute left with you. I figure I might as well get that out of the way.
You are going to make me cry, man. That makes me so happy. And number one, number two, I'm so jealous. Like you went from podcasting to actual radio. Like I've been waiting for years to do that. I've been podcasting since 2007. I'm out there going, I would love a job in radio, and nobody will bring me in, man. Nobody. It's nuts. So you're living the dream as far as I'm concerned. Number one. Number two, I love that people listened when I was out there going, hey man, start a podcast. Like, because I've been doing that since like 2008, 2010. Now we live in a world of podcasts, and it just makes me feel like vindicated. Like I was right. It was good advice and whatnot. And even if people haven't figured out how to monetize or make a living off that podcast, I've met so many people who are like, I heard you say make a podcast a couple of years ago, and I started doing it. I'm 300 episodes in.
Mhm.
And it's just a satisfying thing that's uniquely there, something they never did thought they'd go on that journey. Like, oh, nobody wants to hear me talk. And they've got 300 of a thing. So
Well,
thank you for hearing. And more importantly, thank you for listening.
absolutely. And I got to wrap, but just to tell you, when you have those moments of self-doubt, remember that you've inspired so many people. So thank you. And thank you for the 4:30 movie. And I can't wait to watch it again.
Oh my God, that means the world. Thank you so much. God, I love you. That was fantastic.
Have a good rest of your day.
You too.